in the Second World War?
To answer your question in reverse, no to the last bit. I don't think it's remotely comparable. I don't think anyone who's studied the history of German imperialism, Nazi imperialism in the 30s and 40s in Europe would recognize Israeli behavior in that unbelievable campaign to destroy Western civilization. But you're hearing this said firmly, I hope, by someone who thinks that you just understated matters about Ariel Sharon. He wasn't just responsible for a massacre of thousands of unarmed civilians, and directly responsible. He instigated it in 1982. He's been responsible for massacres and the bullying of and killing of civilians all his life. He's a religious thug, and one of the worst combinations imaginable, a religious nationalist. Once you combine ethnicity with messianism, it doesn't matter which the religion is, you're going to have a nightmarish result. I say this as someone of Jewish parentage, as someone who actually thinks that Zionism is a false messiah for the Jews. But let's not get into all that now. It's certainly nothing but pain for the Arabs of Palestine. I think their treatment is appalling. I think they should have had a state of their own a long time ago. Even the Balfour Declaration, which founds the moral conditions for the Zionist state, says that the rights given to Jews in Palestine must be, matched by the rights given to what is called rather contemptuously the native population. Well, I certainly am not prepared to demand as a Jew that an Arab born in Palestine should have less rights there than I, born in Portsmouth, as it happens, should have. Indeed, I think it's very dubious that I should have the same rights as a Jew in Palestine as someone who was born there when I wasn't. So if you follow me, I therefore shorten this. I think it is an absolute disgrace that a single cent of American taxpayers' money is allowed to be used by Israel for the occupation. I think that should stop immediately. I think Sharon should be told, if you're going to occupy these people and treat them like cattle and threaten to expel them again, to ethnically cleanse them, which is now openly being discussed, you do that on your own dime. You do not use a single American weapon or dollar for that. I also think he should be told to stop talking that way in any case.
A couple minutes left with Christopher Hitchens. First, Charleston, South Carolina. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I'm a fellow Brit.
I can tell.
Absolutely. I think we're about the same age also. I'm just wondering...
what is that in your...
I'm glad you asked and not me.
I can't not ask.
Well, I'll just leave that open for speculation.
Often wonder how old I seem.
I just was wondering what you feel about the British role in this, that in the past generations we've done so much to inflame this region. What do you feel that we possibly can do as rather a poor, second-rate nation today with Tony
Oh, don't be so modest.
And also just, what did you study at Balliol?
I studied philosophy, politics and economics. Did I get that question quite right?
How would you size up Tony Blair?
Oh, well, I don't come, even when I'm no longer a member of the Labour Party, but when I was not on the same wing as the one that's produced him. But I very much admire the way he's handled himself recently. I thought, I'll give you one example of what I mean. As you know, quite a lot of our my fellow Englishmen and women were killed in that atrocity. We don't know how many, but it's quite a lot, more than has ever been killed by that kind of thing at one time before, in say, Belfast or any of the other tussles. Blair has made almost nothing of this. He hasn't said, in talking to the British public, at least the first few times, and when addressing the Labour Party conference, the keynote speech, he didn't try and appeal to people saying, look, by the way, a lot of Brits were killed too, so it's our fight. He defined it quite correctly as something that quite transcends all ethnic, national, and other sorts of boundary. And I admire him for it. I also admire him for pressing on Mr. Bush the following. Mr. Bush cannot go around talking about defending civilization while saying, by the way, we don't think this cause of civilization is good enough to actually risk an American soldier in. Can't we hire some local mercenaries to do the dying for us? Or can't we have pilots flying so high that their planes can't be seen or heard from the ground, which pretty much guarantees there will be bad bombings on the ground, bad near misses and well, I don't mean near misses, I mean collateral damage. Tony Blair says no, and the SAS people are saying we should have already established a firebase right in the middle of Taliban territory and told them we're in your grid square, as the British like to call it. What are you going to do about that? That would put the fear of the living God into them, if anything would. So I mean, I take my hat off to Blair, really.
London, go ahead, please.
Thanks for taking my call,
Sure.
Mr. Hitchens. I'm a big fan, although I may not always agree with
Why doesn't someone who hates me call up?
We will.
It's been fan all day. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be here selling a book on how to be a contrarian.
Well, we may all
I'm
be.
being love bombed all the time. It's nauseating.
But my question is that you have advocated the establishment of closer relationship with India. The BJP government of India has come to power by fanning Hindu fanaticism. Christians are being killed in that country. Indian brutality in Kashmir has gone widely unreported. India has fought wars with most of its neighbors or interfered in the internal affairs of most of its neighbors, like Sri Lanka, where it has supported the Tamil Tigers. India even opposed the UN resolution on East Timor. India opposes the Kashmiri people in having a say where Kashmir should go to, either Pakistan or as an independent Kashmiri state.
Yeah, I know where you're going, and I see where you're coming from. Some of that is true. I'm certainly not a fan of the BJP